Hello everyone, I am Destiny Crawford.
And I am Brittany DeLaine. So what is Edge of Yesterday? Edge of Yesterday is a website that dives into the past to discover and analyze things typically overlooked by young people by multimedia learning through storytelling.
It gives young people the ability to tell stories in their own creative ways and perspectives. For example, if you were to go to the Edge of Yesterday's website, one of the very first things you will see is the Time Traveler section. Once you click on that section, you will see multiple different stories written by different talented young minds, following with different categories to choose from.
Alongside our personal stories, we worked on a group project with our fellow intern mates involving the state of Generation Z and how the current events that are taking place in the world impacted them. Here's a quick snippet of a peer's response to the question, what do you think is Gen Z's most powerful attributes?
That we're able to gather really quickly and discuss a problem at hand and try to figure out what we can do about it as quickly as possible. I feel like Gen Z is a generation that's able to group up more quickly and discuss the problems at hand.
My project that I had worked on was about women having a huge impact throughout society during the 1920s, mostly how they were depicted as, which were flappers, that inspired many women to express themselves freely, and how fashion was made to be an inspiration to many women to use it as their way to flaunt their independence and individuality. I chose this topic to explore in order to highlight the main factors as to why and how women are so powerful and vibrant even to this day and age.
The project I worked on explored the topic of women's suffrage. I mainly chose this subject because today marks the 100-year anniversary of women gaining the right to vote. There's also a large issue with this generation not taking advantage of the right to vote, so I wanted to give people a very large reason to.
Well, why might this be an important program to have and participate in? As our employer, Robin Pays, taught us as soon as we began working, she who tells the story makes history. So, as us being a part of this internship, it allowed us to take part in both telling and making history.
During this process, we have the pleasure of interviewing many knowledgeable people to get more information on both our topics and how to become a successful person in the future. We had the chance to interview Deletta Gillespie, Francesco Rulli, Alicia Butler, and our individual peers.
Okay, here are some videos of the interviews that we did during our internship. The first video snippet we have is of Deletta Gillespie.
I would love you to take this and we'll turn this into one of our creative masterpieces for Edge of Yesterday, based on our discussion.
Being published about it in research, but they were threatened. One gentleman sort of kick-started the whole process. He was a retired Marine, a veteran of the Marine Corps, and he moved to Tulsa to do the research, moved his family, got all this money to do the research. And within a week of him arriving, he walked out of his front door to see two people standing by his car, and they basically said, don't write that story. And they got up and left. So he sent his family back so they would be safe, and he stayed to finish writing the book. So there were, even as late as 1977, people were trying to suppress the event. So people were scared. They didn't want it to happen again.
What was this author, was he African American?
No, he was white. Scott Ellison.
The second video snippet that we have is of Alicia Butler.
Stories from his son, and he would talk about being, African American and being in World War II as a soldier. And he would tell me stories about how, they would ask for the major impact. As far as suffrage, whoever's doing suffrage, it's very important to. There was a PBS special that came on a couple days ago about Black women in the suffrage movement, because that's not something that's very much told about, and it should be important. It's important, and it should be studied. Of course, you have Ida B. Wells, who is just a firebrand. Whew, love that woman. Heavily involved in the suffrage.
And here is a snippet piece of our interview that we did on Francesco Rulli. If you would like to see the full interview video, you can copy and paste the URL link at the bottom of the screen. Although we were supported by our employer and other team workers, we still had challenges we needed to face. Each of us had different challenges to face personally, but we could all agree on a few barriers to our task. One thing was the researching process. It was kind of difficult to find reliable resources to use for our stories. Another challenge we faced was ordering, the story according to outlines we've created and were given. Also, when we were developing our drafts for our stories, we began writing them in an essay format rather than a story format, which was confusing in a way because we were normally used to doing essay formats. However, with a bit of work, assistance from our employer, dedication, and determination, we overcame each of the obstacles.
As the famous quote says, "You can't have a rainbow without a little rain." So the challenges we work with did not stun us in vain. We also gained very noteworthy skills to take from the internship, including writing, researching, journaling, communication, and technological advances.
Doing this internship has exposed me to multiple careers that I haven't yet thought of doing that includes plenty of writing and storytelling. I believe being exposed to these multiple careers give me a great amount of choices to choose from and to be successful in. I would like to continue being able to storytell because it is very intriguing to be able to produce a story in your own unique way. And I wouldn't mind exploring more in the writing field in the future. I would like to see where it takes me.
I believe that this could expose me to many more careers than I initially planned for. This is because all of the skills we gained are wanted in many jobs. More specifically, this could expose me to jobs that require me to either communicate with people through solely technology or jobs that require knowledge about the writing process. From this internship, I want to continue educating people on topics that aren't mainstream. And I also want to dive deeper into journalism in college because I find storytelling with history aspects to be fascinating.